Good day, everybody. I don't know if you're watching this in the morning or the afternoon, so I'm just going to say good day. I have a video for you for DIY. I am going to show you how I made t-shirt rag quilts for my stepkids for Christmas. I've been saving their t-shirts for like 9 years since I've known them. Every time they were getting rid of shirts, I would just hoard them and put them in a box because I knew eventually I would like to make them a t-shirt quilt. I don't know why I decided I would, because I'm not a sewer. I don't enjoy sewing. Me and sewing don't get along. I have a really old, really crappy sewing machine. It actually was the cheapest sewing machine I could find in 2000, maybe even 99. It's pretty old and it was just a cheap model when I bought it, but it has served its purpose. I am not a sewer. Let me just preface this by saying I am not a sewer. I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to sewing. So that's why I did a rag style quilt, because it's relatively simple. It was easy to do. They turned out really cute. I quite like them. I'm happy they're over. But I'm going to show you how I did that. So stay tuned. Let me know if there's anything that you want to see from me in the future. I'm going to get back to my weekly videos now. I took a little bit of a break over the Christmas holidays and it felt good to just give myself some grace and relax and focus on my family and the house. And now it's time to get back to the grind. So there's more videos coming weekly again now. But if there's anything you'd like to see from me, just send me a comment or send me a message and I'd love to hear it. And as always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notifications bell so you know when I have a new video posted. I hope you enjoy this video. So I've got this whole box of t-shirts. I have a bunch already cut over here. I've been saving shirts for like 9 years. From both of them, and then I went to the thrift store and bought a couple of t-shirts that reminded me of them or that had something to do with what they've been up to. So I'm cutting these out into 13-inch squares, and because I'm a woodworker, I just went down to the shop and cut myself a 13-inch by 13-inch piece of paneling. It was just scrap that I had. So then I'm just going to use my rotary cutter and cut all the way around. It's a whole t-shirt, so it'll cut through both sides. I don't know if I'm going to use the backs yet. I haven't decided. If I have enough, I might. But I do have a bunch of shirts that I only have the fronts of, and I didn't keep the backs. I used them as scraps in the shop already, so I wasn't thinking that one through. But I'm just going to cut all of these out. So I'm going to cut this entire box of squares, and then we'll see what happens next. I'm just cutting flannel the same. So I just bought a couple different colors of flannel. I have white, red, blue. I'm gonna go get some black. And see maybe if they have a gray flannel. Just trying to match, but not, like I don't want like orange for the orange and red. I just want like a variation of colors, but I don't want obnoxious ones. So I'm cutting squares the same, using the same template for that. If I have enough t-shirt backs, I'm going to use 2 layers of flannel in between the t-shirt front and the t-shirt back. If I don't have enough, I'm going to use 3 layers of flannel plus the t-shirt back. So you need quite a bit of flannel, but thankfully it's pretty cheap. So I'm just cutting all of those out right now. Okay, so ignore the chaos behind me. It's also a candle making day in the she shed. So I think where we left off, I've been working on these t-shirt quilts for so long, so I don't even know where we left off. We went over cutting them. We went over cutting the flannel. So I have 3 pieces of flannel and 1 t-shirt front. And then I sewed them together I didn't film that part. I don't even know why I didn't. You can kind of see it on this one. So it's really easy. You just sew, you get your 3 pieces of flannel, your piece of t-shirt, and then you just sew an X down here, like so. That's it. So I did that over and over and over and over and over again. I have 25 t-shirts per quilt, and I'm making 2 quilts. So I did that 50 times. I just did it more than that. I ended up with a couple extra, but that's okay. Then I took all of these pieces and I laid them all out on the floor in a pattern I liked and rearranged them how I got it. So I got it just so, and then I'm gonna sew them together. So now I'm working on just sewing the pieces together into rows like this. Once I have all my rows sewn, I will sew all the rows together into a quilt. I have the other one finished. It's totally finished. It has been trimmed, it's been washed, it's been dried, and it's folded and ready to go. So that's good. I'm getting there. I have 3 rows sewed together of this one. I have 2 rows left to go. And this is actually quite a quick step, thankfully, because I really am not enjoying sewing. I hate sewing. I really want to like it, but I don't. So what we're gonna do, oh, I got the order mixed up. Probably doesn't really matter. I think it was this one and then this one. What's in the middle of this one? Okay, let's just do that. So you're gonna lay them, like put them together, but you want, because I'm making it a rag style quilt, you need the seam to be up like this. So you're gonna put wrong side to wrong side, so both your t-shirts are out. Make sure they're both facing up in the right direction, if that makes sense at all. And you're gonna line up your edges and you're just gonna sew, but you're gonna leave a 3/4 inch seam allowance on this side. So the first one I did just in like a zigzag pattern. This one I'm just doing a straight stitch because it's plenty strong enough. I don't know why I felt the need to do a zigzag on the other one. So see, those two are together. There is a big seam allowance here, so that will be the part that I cut to rag. So now I'm gonna go with the next one. So the next one is this blue one here. Same thing, wrong side to wrong side, or flannel to flannel, or whatever you wanna call it. Make sure your t-shirts are facing the same direction. I'm gonna sew this, I'm gonna keep going and finish this row. Okay, so that's that row done. I told you it's quick when it comes together. I've got one more row to put together and then I will start assembling all of them. Okay, so I have all my rows sewed together. It's the last one. This is the top. So that's the little tip I forgot to mention earlier. So I lay them all out on the floor. I rearrange them until I'm happy with how I want them. And then I take a picture. Then if you get them mixed up, you can just reference your picture and you know which ones are supposed to go where. I took my picture and then I stacked them like left to right in each row and put them in separate piles, and so I can keep track, but I have a picture to reference at least if I go wrong. So I know that this is my top row and I know that this is my second row. Upside down. So I'm gonna put my rows together and same thing. You're gonna go flannel to flannel, making sure they're in the right direction. And you just need to line them up. And you're gonna do the same. You're gonna sew with a 3/4 inch allowance. When you get to these parts, you're gonna wanna just fold them down like so on both sides as best you can. If you can't get it, it didn't seem to make a difference on the last one. Just as good as you can. Get them lined up. Let's do this thing. So I find when I get to the seams, if I get really close to the seam where it's like touching the end of the foot, then I stop, lift the foot and sort of like put the edges under and then keep going. Okay. 2 rows together, 3 more to go, and then I'll be back and I'll show you what we do next. Okay, so whoops, my rows are all sewed together. We have this big quilt now. So all I'm going to do now is the same on the edges. I'm going to do a 3/4 seam allowance and just sew all the way around the whole thing. And then we're going to come back and I'll show you how we snip it. Okay, so it's all sewed together. We're actually in the house now because this part takes a little while, and I'm going to put a show on. Let's face it, I'm going to watch The Office again. I'm on like the 4th round of The Office and it's great. So you're gonna take your quilt, and I bought these. These are actually special rag quilting snips. I bought them at the department store locally, and they have made this job so easy. But if you don't have these, a pair of scissors is good. I don't have any decent scissors. I really need to invest in some, but I'm so cheap. I just can't bring myself to spend that kind of money on scissors. So what you're gonna do, let me just trim these strings while I'm here. You're gonna take your scissors or you take your snips and you're just gonna, oh my gosh, if I can get all rows. If you're just gonna snip it every, doesn't really matter, half inch, quarter inch, just random snips all the way along. You're gonna do all the way around the outside. You're gonna do all of these seams in between. You're gonna do everywhere that you have this seam, you're gonna make these cuts. So now you can see why it takes so long. That's why I'm sitting to watch TV to do this. Once you've finished, try not to cut through your seam that you've sewn in there. That would be bad. But once you've got all of your snips done, you just throw it in the wash. Don't throw it in the wash with anything else because all the snips of the flannel, it rags. So all of these fibers end up in your washing machine and then in your dryer, and it's a mess. So wash it by itself and then be prepared to clean your washing machine out when you're finished. I'm gonna snip all my little pieces. I'll give you just a quick before picture before I throw it in the wash. I'll wash it, dry it, and then I'll throw you an after picture of both of them finished and ready to be wrapped.